Well, hello, hello, welcome back. And pop a top, my friends. It is time to live code. It's very dramatic, isn't it? Okay, so I'm AJ O'Neill, and I'm just working on some stuff. I have been going through some code that's actually recent code, but as I was refactoring some of the older code and going through the auth system, and creating an auth system and updating how we've been authenticating and authorizing users, there's been new code developed as well. And so I'm going to be going over some of that. But first, one of the problems that we have is using integer IDs rather than string IDs. And that's going to be a tough challenge to overcome because those database tables already exist. And migrating them is not going to be easy. I think what migrating them is going to require is creating, well, it's going to be, there's dozens of tables, and it would require going over every single foreign key relationship in every single table, adding a new string foreign key. It's going to be a challenge. I guess the foreign key constraint relationship could be added last, but I thought, how could I get some low-hanging fruit out of this? And so what I'm looking at right now, before I go further with what I was about to do, is see if MySQL has a secure random function, which it very well may not. Let's see. But I think what I'll do is just generate random IDs within the range of I think 10,000 to 4 billion or something like that. And we insert those into the database, and that is going to be decently good. It is still kind of scannable in a sense, but it's a lot better. And I don't want to have incrementing IDs exposed, especially as we're developing out the portion of what gets shared right now. It is using a random ID. Well, let me see if I can bring this code up to the fore. Oh, and I do have the chat open both on Twitch and on YouTube. So if you are interested in chatting with me, I will try to check. And when I'm looking right here, that's what I'm doing, is I'm checking. Anyway, let me see if I can bring this code up. Is it going to be in here? No, let's go into routes. Okay, so we're accessing some data in this fashion where a room is basically a shared folder, more or less, and there's an access code. So we're not accessing it by its ID, we're accessing it by its access code. But what I'm going to be doing, and what I've been kind of thinking around so far this morning, is how do we get to do like this instead, where unlisted room, we want to instead check the ID with the access code. I'm not really sure how to go about doing this, to be honest. I think this is the right way to do it. I think there's two ways to go about it. One, I think I need a way to inspect invites. I think that's what I need. Because essentially this invite code, I will know more or less what it is. Yeah. I think that's what we need to do is we need to have a URL for an invite code where we can inspect the invite code and then get what data is related to it. Sorry, I'm probably not articulating this very well as I'm thinking through it. Okay, so you get a code via email or some way. And if we just have /invite/ whatever the code is, we can, when the user opens it up in the browser can go ask, hey, tell me more information about this code. What does the code relate to? And then we could say, oh, the code is for a room. And from there, we could redirect them to the shared room and potentially take some action based on what the code, information that the code defines. So the code may define, give the person that has this code access to this resource. And so then we could permanently add that resource to them. Or if the person has access to the resource through some other means, we could check against the ID of the code. And even though the code might no longer be valid, maybe it's expired, if they have access to it, we could still redirect them to the thing. So that's what I'm thinking is we should have a way to inspect an invite, and maybe that's what it should be, like this. I think that's probably what I should add first. But anyway, let me get back to this. So as we want to get information about this particular resource, it's going to be important. Well, I guess we could, for the unlisted one, it would be fine to have it like this. This would be fine for the unlisted one, because that is going to be a code that potentially gives access to the thing. So actually, I'm fine with this. Other than that, this is where the problem comes in. The problem comes in that it is difficult to define the access controls when we do it this way. So if it's /unlisted/room /access code, well, let's go back up to unlisted real quick where we first define that. So guest auth middleware. So let me go take a look at this for a second here, because this is where the flub is. So that's why we can't do it that way, because, whoops. Where did it go? Is this the whole thing? This is the whole thing right here. So this is a very, this is different. So what we end up having to do this was evil room. The header's the refer. Ugh, that's so body access code that we're posting with the access code, or we're getting the access code from the referrer. Yeah, none of that feels good. So basically, the way that it currently works, let me think about this. So I've said this before. You want to put the gatekeeper at the gate, not at the door. You put the doorman at the door, you put the gatekeeper at the gate. And this is where the way that this is set out currently bothers me a little bit. Is the URL, if you go to a Google Doc, for example, the very last item in the URL is actually what grants you access. So it has to know that you're not logged in and then look at the ID of the document and then get the information about the ID from the document to figure out whether or not you're allowed to view it. Now, I don't know how that actually is implemented, but I really believe in, as far as the API goes, let me go back here, that the way that an API should be implemented, ideally, is that, so we've got public, we know there's no authentication, we've got /user, whoops, let me go here. This is how I've set it up. So if the route begins with /user, we know a user needs to be logged in. If it begins with /account, we know that they need to have selected an account. If it begins with /sudo, then we know that it needs to be a privileged back office admin. And if it begins with /impersonate, then we know that it needs to be a back office admin who is then going to, this will actually waterfall. So the super user will be able to do something as another user, and the /impersonate in front will actually get stripped away, and then it will fall through to /user, /account, or whatever, and then the other rules will apply. So this is putting the gatekeeper at the gate. But with the unlisted, that's a little problematic with webhooks and unlisted. So webhooks, every webhook authentication is different. There is no system that you can put in place other than, say, register all of your webhooks to /webhook /whatever. Other than that, because every webhook system is different, you can't put a system in place. You have to be vigilant and guard each webhook individually. Oh, by the way, hello, welcome. Feel free to tell me who you are, what you're doing, what brought you to the channel, etc. I saw that someone just joined it. Anyway. So this one, I don't like the idea of doing it this way if we don't have to. And let me think about that. And we don't want to put this in an authorization header. I mean, this is not going to go into the browser anyway. But I don't like the idea of doing an authorization header just because the person could be logged in. See, I'm just not sure how to do this one. It's a little bit weird. The person could be logged in, and they might not have access to this resource. But if they have a link with the access code, then they might have access to that resource. And that's all on the API side. So in terms of them clicking the link, it can look like whatever. Okay, but this is the reason why I think this needs to have the ID of the resource or set of resources here, rather than strictly relying on the token to be embedded. And let me see what else we've got. Okay, typically a room. Okay, I don't like this one. Something doesn't feel right about this. So we can list the rooms. Yeah, okay, this is what I need to go inspect first. But before I do that, let me go back to the MySQL, the MySQL thing. And maybe room should just be a special case. But if it is a special case, I want it to be self-consistent. I don't like the idea of that. So I need to figure out what this is about. I'm going to make some notes myself real quick. So let's do set no number. There we go, get rid of that. That way I can copy and paste this elsewhere. And what was it that I was just looking at? Alright, so that one, I don't know what that's about. That doesn't, I don't know what that means. Alright, I want to see what this list is about. Yeah, some of these don't seem to follow, well, just making this note. So this is an anti-pattern right here because we have the ability to do a put against a specific room resource, but then in general we have a bunch of named, not resources, but I don't know what to call it, sub features of this thing. So we're going to have either a random ID. Link is not in the ID space. This is not an ID. We're overloading. We're overloading the URL. So I don't like that. I want to get this to be I'm wondering. This is all mostly modifying. The only thing that's a get is this one here. Alright, so these are the only gets. So the question is, how do we do this? Now, if we could put a prefix on the access code that could help us identify the URL. So we could say if the URL has a slash and then this prefix, that's one way we could go about it. And then what we're checking could be at the end of the URL, but the way that we check it could come first, and then we could still know that they're authorized before they even hit the resource. Basically, what I want is by the time that the, say, room.getRoomToken is called, the rec.user or rec.guest or whatever should already exist. There should be some middleware that can handle the access code and can say, hey, here's what this access code is allowed or not allowed. And so we could say that for everything that's under /unlisted/room, so let me put it like this. So I want to be able to have something of this nature. That says if you're getting to anything underneath of here, we should already know that you have access to it before you get to it, essentially. Yeah, like this, I think. So we could know right up top, if you don't have access to this room through an access code or some means, then you just cut off. Which maybe for right now, that's the best way to go about that. But then I'd want to be able to have that require room or something similar to it in other places as well. So that's where I'm a little bit, I gotta figure out, I am curious what the heck this is. That just looks odd. Because it's saying that the must be logged in as a user. As a user, you have access to the room. And then something about another user. I don't know what that is. Are we answering Stack Overflow questions? Nope. No, I am. I mean, if you have a Stack Overflow question that you want to ask me, you can ask me, and if I can, look at it quickly, maybe I'll give you an answer. But I am not looking. No, because you see that I've got this. No, not. I am looking at Stack Overflow because I am eventually going to get around to seeing if we can use a random integer for an ID as the default rather than auto increment, because auto increment is evil. Yeah, I get it now. Now, let's see. Gina, where are you from? What do you do? Are you a Node developer? And you're not the Gina that I know, are you? Because she has a different last name, I think. Oh, yeah, the Bitcoin non-decentralized. You want to be a blockchain developer? So why, if you want to be a blockchain developer, why did you love my Bitcoin is not decentralized video? I actually want to have a debate. There's two people that have agreed to go live with me to do a debate around blockchain technologies. And I think it could be good for the listeners, but I don't think any of the three of us will be moved from our position, because one of the guys, I know him personally. He's a very sharp guy, very smart. I don't know why he's into blockchain stuff, because it seems obvious that it can't go anywhere, that it is all, it's, okay, let me finish up this tangent in 60 seconds and then get back to the thing I'm really on. But blockchains are Rube Goldberg machines. And there's really no other way about it. There is no real world practical use for a blockchain. Now, some people are starting to talk about sharded blockchains. At that point, they're basically talking about a Merkle tree. There are real world use cases for a Merkle tree. If you take something that's a blockchain and then break its blockchainness to shard it and then create a really inefficient Merkle tree, you're still in the position of using a useless technology for a use case for which there already is a technology that works really, really well. But that's, we'll see. I haven't scheduled a time to do the debate, but we'll do it live. And Carl Youngblood is one of the guys, and the other one, I don't remember his name, but I asked for people on Twitter, and if I can get both of them at the same time, that would be just as well for me. I'm happy to take a 2-on-1 there. The blockchain has zero uses. It has zero. Well, it has zero uses in the way that a Rube Goldberg machine has zero uses. A Rube Goldberg machine has uses, but none of them are valid. But that's another debate. But there's. Anyway, I'll go back to seeing if MySQL has a cryptographically secure random number generator. Let's see. Because I doubt that its rand function is cryptographically secure, but I'm going to try to find that out real quick and see if it has something else that is cryptographically secure. Postgres has both cryptographically secure and insecure randoms, and it's sad. It's just a legacy of the 90s. I think that if any database were to be invented today, it would not have the option of a insecure random generator. I don't think that in today's world there are use cases for that. But most random functions that exist are not at all random. most random functions that are new in modern languages are random, or in the documentation will specify that they're not random for the purpose of performance. But you would not want to use a non-random random number generator, for example, if you were developing a platform for gambling. There's a great article from some people that were writing a platform for gambling and how they got screwed by not using a secure random number generator. Let's see, in Rand. Anyway. Yeah. Well, I hope that you will watch, and I don't believe in counter arguments to the blockchain. I am perfectly capable of writing a blockchain, and there's a reason that the people who invented it in the first place left, right? So there was a paper back when everything started becoming super cool and popular that was by a group of people who were of the original developers of Bitcoin, and they explained why everything that people are doing with blockchains is absolute nonsense. I cannot find it again. I believe that it was released either in February or March of 2016 or 2017. I'm not 100% sure on when it was, but they themselves said, hey, this was a game. It's a thought experiment. It's not useful as an investment mechanism or for these weird things people are trying to do with it. Okay, Rand is not meant to be perfect random generator. But, okay, and then portable between platforms. Function is unsafe for statement-based, blah, blah, blah. Such a statement. Okay. Well, even if it's not... let's see. So even if it's not random, it could still be useful because it'll be better than sequential. But it does... Let's see. Does it not... Does MySQL rand secure? Do we have... There we go. Does MySQL have cryptographically secure random? Well, yeah, I get that. We all get that it's not meant to be perfectly random. Random bytes. That won't work because I need a number. Oh, lost me. Let's see. Random bytes can be used as an initialization vector. Okay, let's go to random bytes. Can we go... Okay. And I can do this in code, but I'm interested in figuring out, can I do an alter column and alter it from being auto increment to being default, select, binary to int, or that's what I'm trying to figure out here. Okay, so you said that sounds like a YouTube video you need to create, but because I'm very asynchronous in terms of when I'm looking at comments and what I'm saying things, clarify for me which one needs to be a YouTube video I need to create about. Are we talking about random numbers, or are we still talking about the blockchain? Okay, random bytes. Yeah. So can we do... so this is the correct answer right here, kind of, sort of. But we need a number. So we need... Can we do MySQL bytes to integer? How to convert binary to integer in MySQL? MySQL conversion numbers, or conversion functions. Select... into a value inet a to n. No, that's not useful. Let's see, convert binary, convert expression to type. Converts a signed integer. Cast a string to a binary string. Okay. So I might just need to go with insecure random for starters, and that would at least be better than where we're at right now. Probably. Yeah, okay. About the, so in regards to the blockchain being a hoax and the article. Yeah. Well, one thing, I so wish I could find it because I went back to look for it later because it was a big deal when it first came out and it was, being retweeted and stuff like that. But I think it got buried very quickly because it's not profitable. Because consider how the blockchain has become popular. It's not become popular because it's a great technology. We just did an episode of JavaScript Jabber, which will be published probably in about a month. So subscribe to JavaScript Jabber if you're not subscribed. But we interviewed somebody who has a blockchain company. And basically the way that his company works is that they did an ICO when ICOs were all the rage and a big buzz. Got $100 million, and they have never figured out a use case for their product, but it doesn't matter because they have $100 million. For the people that are using blockchains and Bitcoins and Dogecoins and all that, and by the way, another tangent I'm going to go on. This is what I imagine happened with the whole Dogecoin thing recently. Elon Musk is having a beer with a couple of buddies. And the buddy says to Elon, dude, you are a magician. You can turn sand into gold. How do you do it? I wish I could make $1 million overnight. And Elon Musk says, hold my beer, because he seems to stutter an inordinate amount. And then he tells his buddy, buy $1 worth of Doge. And his buddy does. And then Elon gets out his phone and tweets, Doge, so hot right now. Gotta invest. Send. The next day, his buddy is now a millionaire. Right? That's what I think happened. I honestly think that that's what happened. I think that Elon just had a hold my beer moment and made somebody of his a quick $1 million. And then he did the thing again. He tweeted about wife Doge. So I'm sure he'll do it again. But somebody probably went to him like, man, I wish I could make $1 million overnight, but lightning doesn't strike twice. Again, hold my beer. Wife Doge. Invest now. Yeah. yeah. Joe Rogan. They were smoking doobies. Hold my doobie. Yeah. That's got to be what it was. But anyway, with all these things, there's no real use for them, because the way that people are investing in it, they don't want information like, for example, the authors. I'm trying to stop saying like the authors of the algorithm and whatnot releasing an open letter that says, hey, this is a bunch of crap. They're not. That's not going to stay in the height of search results very long. People are going to manipulate the Reddits and all that to make sure that other more interesting, more controversial content takes its place. So I have not, and there's just so much content about blockchains. It's been very difficult to find anything. Okay. Or any of those old articles. But you can look at the original paper on Hashcash, which is what the it's what the hashing algorithm is based on, not necessarily the blockchain itself. But Hashcash is kind of a cool idea. Conceptually it's cool. All right, let me see. My SQL-U root database name. My database name is database name. All right, so let's see. We're going to select. What was I going to do here? Select. Where's my rand function? No, it was over here, wasn't it? All right, so I got to have my floor. My floor is going to be the 10,000 plus rand times, and then that's going to be my upper bound. Okay, so my upper bound, let me just go check this real quick. I think it's going to end up being 2 billion because I think we're going to be using a 31-bit integer because I don't think we specified that it was unsigned. And I should go double check on that, actually. Let me go double check on that real quick. So was this DB migrations? Oh, gosh. Let's see if I can tell from the names of any of these things. It'll be the first one ever. That'll probably be what I'm looking for. DB migrations. Am I not? Oh, I'm not in fish. Let me get into fish. There we go. Now I've got my... See, if you're using fish, it'll show you whatever matches the kind of things that you're typing. It does fuzzy searching. So I recommend everybody use fish as their default shell, but never for scripting. I would never recommend it for scripting. All right, let's go take a look at when user was created. Let's see, user, table.increments. Now let me go check connects. Connects.js.org. Let's see, increments. Does this create it signed or unsigned? Add auto-incrementing column. This is serial. Also available big increments if you wish to use big int. Primary key is created by default, but you can blah, 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 blah. Okay, that doesn't tell me. Let's go look at the database. Let's see what the database says. The database won't lie. Was it describe user? And then we should be able to go. Doge did bring people into crypto, which is great. There were ads all over Miami for Doge. But you're saying it's great. One, I see good, great, bad. These are moral arguments, not technical arguments. So morally, it is good to bring people into crypto, which I hate that they have reappropriated the word crypto. Crypto is supposed to mean cryptography, security, things that are wholesome and morally good, not scams. But why is it morally good to bring people into burnt coal? Why is it morally good to increase electrical costs and global warming? Why is that morally good? ID right here. Unsigned. Okay, it is unsigned. Now 10, you'd think that it would refer to bytes. Int 10 actually refers to padding, so it'll be padded with up to 10 zeros when being selected. So if I select, it doesn't have to do with the data type. Oh, this is interesting. Varchar 512. I didn't know varchar could go that high. I guess maybe it does in MySQL. Okay, so it is unsigned, which means that And now I'll get back over here. All right, math dot, was it max safe int or something like that? No? Is it number dot max safe integer? Oh no, that's a 51 or 52-bit integer. That's not what I want. Okay, so math.pow 2 to the 32, and then we're going to do -1, I think. So in theory, that's how high we can go for, a little over 4 billion. Okay, oh no, I do want to go back over here. All right, so I want to select, let's see, random floor. We'll select floor, let's say 10,000 plus rand times 4 billion. Interesting. It's interesting that the first couple numbers. Oh, okay, I see. Cool. Yeah, this should be good. This should work for things that are under 100,000 resources, no problem. Okay, so we'll go with that. So this could be our default value. I'm going to put this over my notes to myself over here. Boom, 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 boom. And so I want to set the default value to be a random integer. So let me describe again. Whoops. Go back in. Describe user. And it does have auto increment. So can I change that to be alter table user alter column, I guess it's ID, right? And then what? Default. And then for default, can I put an expression? Will that work? MySQL default rand. Oh. Okay, so this is just not possible. Well, that stinks. Oh, create trigger before on insert for each row set at I don't know if I want to go about that. So create trigger before insert on client number. Let's see. Let me see if I can use this here. Bum ba da dum bum bum. Okay, before insert on user for each row set at id equals floor 10,000 plus rand times. Oh yeah, I like this better. There we go. Create trigger. Let's do create trigger if not exists. Let's see if this will work. All right. You do not have the super privilege and binary logging is enabled. You might want to use the less safe log bin trust function creators variable. You do not have the super privilege. How do I not have the super privilege? I'm root. How do I grant myself the super privilege? Okay, all right. So we're not doing it that way. We're going to have to do it in code. All right, that's fine. So be it. So let's go find... All right, where is this going to be? Wait a minute. Is this post report? I'm confused. Which of these functions are sudo? Post report. Let me go take a look at that over here. Oh no, whoops. Post report. Yeah, that doesn't seem... What? Account. What's the first account slash room? What is checking that they actually post report? Post feature. Let's see here. You do not have admin permissions for this room. Okay. Room.account ID, got it. All right, so that's what's doing the check right there. Okay. So, but delete does not have a body, right? Params.id. All right. All right, so I'm not really liking guess that makes sense. Okay. 32. We've confirmed that auto increment is signed. All right, so that's appropriate now. So we're going to start at 10,000, and we're going to go up to about 4 billion. But we are going to clamp it. Yeah. So it's going to be at least 10,000. IDs will be at least 10,000. Clamped. So times max ID. What do I want to call this? I don't know if that's necessary. I really want to say there'll just be at least 10,001, and then we can say min ID, and we're all good there. I guess it doesn't matter. So min ID plus, and math.random is cryptographically secure. The implementation has been changed. Alrighty. So minimum ID is going to be at least 10,000. We're going to clamp the max ID to 10,000 below the min ID. Oh, and we did have -1 plus min ID. There we go. Yeah, that is supposed to be that way. And then we're going to take min ID plus the clamped max ID, and then we're going to return it as a string. Are we going to return it as a string? I don't think we're going to return it as a string. Yeah, let's return this as a number, actually. Oh, bless me. So many burples. Okay, did we add the bytes one here? I wanted to add one for bytes as well. Let me do this again. And we're going to do module.exports.bytes. And then we're going to take the len, but we're going to invert everything. Well, no, we don't need to invert anything. We just do, no matter what this is, so bytes should be the same. So we should be able to say let buff equal crypto ran bytes. Yep. And then if it's base 64, then we web safeify it. Actually, I like it the way it was before. Let me redo that. That was nicer. Oh, and it redoes it anyway. If it's base 62, let me go ahead and copy that. And then no, I kind of let me go back. I'm going to go back. Maybe I'll redo. Okay. So here's the thing. With base 62, I'm just going to add in one extra byte. Well, let's see. How many extra bytes should I add in? For every so many bytes, you lose a little bit more. Whatever. I don't know. So we're just going to add one here. Because that's going to give us how many extra bits? Well, if it's 1 byte, it gives us 8 extra bits. But if we're losing 2 bits of entropy for every... So it's 62-bit encoding. Bah. Whatever. It's good enough. Rand plus equals. Yeah, I don't think we need any of that. We're just going to do same thing that we did up here. But then we're also... Let me see. Anybody else joining in? Yeah, I actually do want a base 62 algorithm here. rather than just... Okay, so we take that rand, and then this bugs me because I want to do it right, but oh, okay, just satisfy myself there. Put in one extra byte. We're good. Or, you know what? I kind of like the idea. So we could trim excess equals out of it. Well, we don't have to worry about the excess equals because they're already here. So we could just go straight to this, right? And then plus, and then slash. So then we just need to get rid of plus and slash, and we could replace them with something else. We could replace them with 4, chosen by fair dice roll. Four is guaranteed random, chosen by fair dice roll. There we go. Yeah, so that reduces the entropy a little bit. Well, okay, maybe we could do one better. Return. Okay, let's say we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay, so we got all 26 letters there. Plus 2 uppercase. Plus 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So we have here the full alphanumeric sequence. And we're going to replace build math.random, math.floor, math.random times alphanum.length. So we will never get alphanum. Because, yeah. It's up to, but not including 1, right? Well, it would be so impossible. You're not going to get a perfect 0 or a perfect 1. Anyway. And then this would be alphanum index. There we go. Close enough. Cannot redeclare block scope. Stupid let. All right. There we go. Now that can actually be there. We can get rid of that. Okay, fine. Buff is declared, but its value is never read. Buff is what? Used before being assigned. It's assigned right here, silly. Fine. I'll just do this. All right. Random bytes. Except that I don't think I really want buff there. Okay. There we go. Here's what we do. Solve all of our problems. Just put it in if statements. Far less complex code. So there we go. Base 64, base 62. Whoops. I still get to put off doing the real base 62 implementation. All right, we got anybody else joining in? Well, hello, and welcome. Feel free to tell me who you are, where you're from, what you code in Node or whatever, what your interests are. And if they're blockchain, don't be offended if I offend you. Every person deserves a legitimate interest. Okay. There we go. Put up. And I do kind of want to have a prefix here. Nah, we'll leave it as is. Okay. All right, so let me do this a little bit better as well with the librand. So console.info Let's say I want 2 bytes. They're hex, and let's say that I want an ID. And that is not hex or anything. And then the length of this, if it's 2 bytes, should be 4 characters. All right. Okay, looks good. I like it. Doop, doop, doop. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Okay, so let's go to the rooms. And I think that's good. We got Rand in here. Okay, so what is it? That we really need to make sure has random IDs. Room document, room user, room access log. How about just room? Is there any place where room is? We're doing an insert with a room? Come on now. Seriously? All right, room access log, room feature, room report, room link, room document, room user. Okay. Do we have any place where you have room.query.insert of its own? Seriously? All right, how about this? Let's look for any place where there's a room.js. Okay, source API util room. And do we have any inserts in here? Room.query.insert. Yeah, we do. Maybe I needed to escape these. Indeed. Okay, cool. So all right, that one at least should go there. But now I gotta bring in the Rand. Okay, I think I'm gonna assign that to my R buffer. So let's do double quote R yank. YY, that is. Okay. Okay. So this should be good. All right, security. Use random ID for room. Okay, what else? Unfortunately, I've not... I've kind of been circling around the code today, trying to understand more of it. Haven't made as much progress as I would have liked. But I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point where I kind of am understanding the new code. Is equal. Interesting. Eh. There we go. Whatever. Okay. So let me go double check. Routes. Let's go take a look at the rooms again. Yeah, so all these, the ID for the room, so they're all room related. But in all of these, the check that it's the right room happens by other means. So feature, report, link, document, user. Oh, hey, welcome. What brings you to the channel? Where are you from? What do you do? Do you Node? I'm just kind of stuck and thinking around what's the best way to do this. Well, let me go to the clearest use case again. So a couple things I want to do. One, let's let's say that this needs to be an ID. And then we're going to do some sort of either access code or access token to get to it. Let me go, I need to go inspect get by access code, get room token. Get room token is the one that I'm actually quite curious about because I don't know what that means. Get room token. Nope, that's not where I was supposed to be. All right. So they're going to have an access code in the params, but I want to change this to be rec.query.accessCode first of all. And then user ID is rec.user.sub or nothing. User may or may not be logged in. And then we're going to get, what is it we're actually going to get? Account ID. So, array of arrays. Wait, this is returning an array of arrays? Why is it returning an array of arrays? Why is this returning an array of arrays? So we're looking at the first one. If we only care about the first one, then why don't we just limit? Is this limited? Oh, it's a raw query. Looks like it should be limited by virtue of the way the query's made. This is a little confusing to me because we're going to get an array of results. Is it because, maybe it's not doing the mapping. Maybe the no, because we got .box bit data folder. Okay. Box data folder right there. So why is it getting an array of arrays? Where this is that or that's that. That's confusing to me. Whatever, I'm moving on. All right, but this is getting the box token. So it's get the room box token. Got it. Oh. Well, hello, hello. I do not know Node. I have dabbled in JS, more of Python and Golang dev. Yes, Golang as you should. Currently working in IT. So, what magic tricks would you like to see me perform? Let's see what we got. Actually, in about half an hour maybe, I'm going to have to start getting ready for tonight's meetup. I'm going to go check and see. Restart place over. Alright, nothing. And just looking at some messages real quick. There's some stuff I was waiting on hearing back about. Just 1 second as I peruse this here. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. All right. So get box token, is that? Okay, that's from over there. I'm wondering, what was this used for? Allowing people to upload stuff, I guess? Let's see if I can rewrite this to be a little easier to read. Let's see what we get here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. From room is R. Left join is A on where. Ugh. Or let's see, on and Okay. Let's see if I can better understand what's going on here. Box ID is account user ID. Because we're selecting A is account, R room is R.id room ID is in I'm not really familiar with this SQL syntax. Join on blah and blah. What does this mean where it's just and without an equals? Because it would seem that normally it would be on this ID equals that ID and this ID equals that ID. But here, it seems like this should go here, and it seems like this should go there, and they should just be these two things. That seems to be normal SQL syntax to me. What does this mean? That does not seem to be normal SQL syntax to me. Does that imply whatever its foreign keys are? I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's a little too big to hold in my head. All right, in any case. And why? Yeah, and I still don't get the why it's an array of arrays. All right, get down here. If user ID okay, check. What does check mean? If user's logged in and has admin access to account, give account token back. Okay. So user access, where user ID, account ID, full access is 1. I think that means admin is current is 1, so not deleted. With graph fetched account. So if user has access to the account, okay, that makes sense. That's what it says. Await get box token, box ID, result token, box folder. I don't quite understand what this thing is for. All right, if the user is not logged in or does not have admin access, return the limited scope token to only that folder. Okay, get box token, room info.box user. Oh, is this overloaded? Let me go look and see. I'm going to need to open this on the other screen. First, make sure there's nothing unseemly in here. Apparently, there we go. Get Box token. Okay. Yeah, it's overloaded. So if it's a string, it's doing one thing. But if it's not a string, it's being turned into a string. That doesn't... What? Box user, room info. Where did room info go? Right here. Oh, okay, I get it. So there's a user for the account, and there's a user for the user. And the user for the account has broader access permissions. Okay, because we're traversing multiple systems. So box is a storage system. Box has what it thinks is a user for each user in our system, and box also has what it sees as a user for each account in our system. Hence the limited scope. If the user is not logged in or does not have admin access, return the limited scope token to only that folder. Okay, so it's not to the user, it's to the folder. Got it. So box has a user for the account, and it has a user for the particular folder. Okay, now I understand. Now I understand what that's doing. Okay. Okay. All right, what do I need to do next then? Okay, the reason that we can't use room ID would be because we don't know what the room ID is. So I do need to implement this inspect endpoint for the access token. That's what I need to do. Inspect. So where did I go? Source, API routes, index, inspect. Well, hello. I see that the room's becoming more and more crowded. How are you today? And where are you from? What is your interest in Node or access controls or whatever it is that brought you here today? Okay, so I do need... some sort of public invite inspect. Yeah, let's just put it right here. Or let's put it alphabetically. Oh, excuse me. I wonder why that's there. I wonder why that's... Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what that is. That's some leftovers. All right, let's say public invite inspect. And then here we'll have is this our auth route? Yeah. So I'll call this get invite data. And I will go open up this. And do we have the other auth in here? Not yet. Eh. I'll just put it right here. auth.arget invite inspect. Async function. If I could spell async correctly, that would be a miracle. Rec res next. And then what I'm expecting. Whether or not the code is valid, I still want to be able to inspect it. So even if it's expired, I want to be able to inspect what it says, probably. Let's see. So I know that's going to be rec.query.access token. I think that's what we're going to do. Let me check and see what we're using right now. Access code. Do we have that anywhere? Do we have query.access code anywhere? So access code is definitely something that we're using a bunch. But rec.query.access code is only used in these couple of places. And it is access code, not access token. So let me take a look on that real quick. Query.access token. WebSocket is using access token. That makes sense. Because you can't rely on being able to send headers. For some reason, they decided that the security model of a WebSocket should be the same as the security model of an image tag. I don't remember what the rationale was for that. Seems kind of strange. Okay. And let me go check back up at the top level. Whoops, not what I wanted to do. rec.query.access code. This is going to be anywhere on API. If there's not access code, it's going to return. So we should have unsafe code data. Should exist. And yeah, I guess we could just start out with, well, I don't really want to send everything. Let me go look at what this is. Rec.unsafe code data. What will that be? Whoops, again. I think that unsafe code data is, yeah, it's coming directly from the access code model, so it's going to be whatever's in the database. Let me go check. DB migrations, access code. Let's see, access codes. So we've got ID and code, impersonator ID, effective ID, account ID. I think what we really want is to see what are the access claims. Let's see, effective ID, impersonator ID, account. Yeah, I guess all this stuff except for potentially... Yeah, it looks like everything here looks safe. ID code, impersonator ID. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And let's go ahead and go into lib auth. Are we doing anything with access code here? So we'll just create an auth dot get access code. Well, maybe let me go back, because that's already being done somewhere around here. Yeah, I don't remember whether you go by Dave or David, but I do remember you. I do, yeah, and I think we're friends on Facebook and Twitter and all the places. I see your comments from time to time. Access code model query. Find one. Unsafe code data. I kind of want to get rid of using the models in the routes. I want to introduce controllers. Oh, there's just so much code. It's hard to keep track of it all. Let's see, what should I do? I guess sanitize is a good word. So we'll take in code data, and then we'll return, I guess, everything, because it all looks safe to me. Well, maybe we'll take out code. So let's say we got ID. Whoops. Removes code. Impersonator ID, effective ID. I think all of this ends up being important. Account ID. Whoops. And then identifier type would be if it's restricted to a particular ID. I think these are methods of restriction. Identifier. Access claims, room ID. Yeah. All this stuff should be safe to display publicly. Created at, updated at, revoked at, so on. Updated, revoked. Oh, expires. Got that one too. Expires. Dum-ba-da-dum-bum. Let copy equals, and then we'll go object.keys code data dot for each. Okay, if code data k, because none of these are going to be false, right? They might be null, but they're not going to be false. There we go. Return copy. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do whitelist. Now, I wonder if it's revoked. Should I still show it? I guess I can. I don't think there's any deficiency in showing that it's been revoked. Oh, hey, Will. All right, so let's say sanitize code data as part of auth. I want to go back to my routes auth, I think. I could do let auth controller equals require lib source lib auth.js. And then we can take the unsafe code data. It's not been validated. And we can send it back. And I'm wondering if there's anything else that I should do with this. I kind of would like to just validate it. Let me go back over here. So, wait a second. Access code. Where's access code coming from? Lib access code. Oh, then I should definitely... Let me go back here. I didn't realize I already had started a file for the access code, but since I have done that, then I should not put the sanitize function in auth. I was putting it there because I was thinking, oh, I don't want to create a whole different file for just this one thing. So create get ID. Then we'll do access code.sanitize data. That'll be good enough. And then I will go change auth.sanitize. Yeah, I'll go back and change this. So this can be access code. There we go. And sanitize data. All right. I guess I don't really need to pass back ID either. Let me go back to this not included ID and code. Because ID, I think, is useless externally. Only the code is useful externally because the code, so we're going to take the code, we're going to hash the code, and then we're going to take the result of that, truncate it, and that's the ID. So the secret value, well, secret value. the public value is not the identifier in the database. And the reason for that is just that if it were, then you could do timing attacks. So if you hash it, you get rid of the timing attacks when you do the search across the database, because the database is going to be indexed, and it's going to reveal timing information if you were to take the secret value that you share with other people, the shared secret. If you took the shared secret and you queried the database for it, you could tell from the time that it took the database to do the lookup how many letters you had correct in the sequence. Let's see. Whitelist. Turn copy. Yeah, looks good. All right, it is 5:30. I've got the meetup for Rust. I need to be at the other building by 6:30. I'm going to bring all the equipment and make sure everything checks out and works in the space. But I'm kind of in this right now. I don't want to leave it. For what little I'm getting done, I want to get done. Okay, so get invite inspect. Or get invite inspect. Let's see, routes, no, API, routes, index, get invite data. There we go. That's what I called it. So routes auth, get invite data. Okay, let's do that then. I don't know. So we could say what could we say about this? If we do need to check to see if this is not there, then we just throw an error, bad request. Just missing the data. Fair. Okay, so let's see, out of the stuff that I've modified, what of this is actually useful and I should commit. This is useful. I will commit this. This is useful. That, maybe, maybe not. That's maybe useful. Oh, I just fixed a spelling error. Yeah. Okay, this one's useful. Access code, so lib access code. Git add this. and lib access code. By the way, a lot of people will do git add dot, and I don't do this, and I don't recommend that anybody else do it. Because when you do git add dot, you inevitably add things that you didn't intend. So if you're in the habit of doing a git status, you add a couple of things, and then you do a git status, then you are thinking about what it was you actually modified on purpose. And you don't end up with putting DS store or env or private keys or any of those types of things in the repository, which is such a common thing to do. Okay, this one was important as well, right? Yep. Okay, so out of these things that are left, that's a spelling fix and a couple of other things, but not really important to what I need to do right now. Yeah, I think this is the thing I need to do right now. Sudo system control restart. By the way, Will, are you going to show up at the Rust meetup? Oh, you already answered the question. Okay. And it looks like either somebody joined back in or we got somebody new. So, hello and welcome. If you want to, you can tell me where you're from, what your interested node is, what your social security number is, what your account and routing information is. You know, just good conversation starters. I am... What am I? I am not a chimpanzee. I am a human. That's what I am. Okay. So now what I want to do is go take my endpoint that I just created and I want to test it. So I had here somewhere, I think, what was it, under utils? Yeah, utils, create access code. Okay, and I think I had some examples of how to use this. Yeah, I do. I got them right in there. Cool. And it looks like, interesting. I'm going to do this. Let d equals new date. No. I'm going to do better than that. We're going to do, new date, date.now plus, and then let's say something that expires in 15 minutes would be 15 times 60 times 1000. And then for this, I'll do, I was showing the example that you can use offsets and that expires at. Meh. I'll just do it this way. Also supports offsets. But the main thing is I want the help to actually be useful. So let's do d.to isostring. Okay. So let me go ahead and run the utils create access code here on the dev server. And with what it gives me, I should be able to create an access code for AJ and let's see. We'll do dash dash expires at equals, and yeah, that's good enough. I just need anything really. So node util, whoa, there we go. So now can I do curl http localhost? Well, I don't even know what port we're on locally. Let me check that out. Oh, let me not do that. That could have been dangerous. Let me do this in the other window. That's what I need to do. Oops. Really? Huh. Maybe ports only in the systemd file. And let me see. I'll check comments in just a second. Okay. 3500 is what we're operating on. So curl localhost 3500 API. What was it? Public invite inspect, and then access code equals, I think is what it was. So we can just put in this access code. All right. Looks good enough. Let me try another one. But I'm going to do claims foo and bar. Okay, let's take a look at... Oh, okay, so for that, good enough. Alrighty, everything looks good. All right, let me take a look. Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, I will see you there then. Well, got somebody bringing pizza. Oh, I need to actually check messages real quick and see if there's any other questions or comments about bringing things. Wow. So apparently Costco takes $40 million a year in losses on their rotisserie chicken, but it gets people to walk to the very back of the store. And once you're there, you're not leaving with just a chicken. Interesting. Huh. So this is conversation because pizza is being picked up by... I'm not picking up the pizza tonight because I've got other things to worry about, like making sure we can get in the building, and I don't want to have to worry about going to go grab the pizza and then deal with all that. So, all right. Well, you have a good one. Adios. Anyway, so because I've got, we're figuring out pizza for the meetup. People are talking about Costco in general. Okay, this is good. Okay, we're not going to know. Okay, so we should know what the room ID is. We should be able to inspect the token. And that makes me feel a lot better about this. So we can have the room ID in the token. And then we can take the access code other ways. So let me go change this a little bit. Invite, no, dang it, I keep on going into the wrong file. Invite to for the front end to inspect codes and get relevant info, such as room ID. Let's see. Maybe it should be public access code inspect or unlisted access code inspect. Unlisted is kind of a bad, well, it's not a bad name. It's not as descriptive as it was originally intended to be. Yeah, let's call this access code inspect. And maybe we should put it under the unlisted because it does require an access code in order to be useful. Well, no, because it doesn't require the access code to be valid to be useful. So I'm going to put it under there. There we go. Good. So we'll rename that to get access code data. And then we'll change this around. Oh, I wonder if I could do a cascading change to at least update the IDs to be random. See, the thing is, we're also connected into other systems. That's a rough one. That's a really, really rough one. But what we can do is we can say everything from now to the future should be random rather than auto increments. Auto increments should be deprecated. That should give a warning. Auto increment is insecure. Auto increments will cause conflicts at scale. Auto increment was a bad idea. Please forgive us. And then that should not be a get. That should be a post. It is creating something, if I'm not mistaken. To do. There we go. Routes auth. Okay. So we're getting the access codes. Is there anything else here that I wanted to do? Maybe utils create access code. That's just a small change, right? Yeah. And then this is all stuff that doesn't need to be done right now. So I'll just let it wait. Okay. Yeah. Public. Doot. All right, let's pull on master. Anything else come in? Nope. What? Oh, right. Get checkout master, get rebase AJ, get push, get checkout AJ, get stash apply. And then bump. Just send it a message, new endpoint for inspecting access codes. Inspecting access codes. Let's see. Public access code inspect. Access code equals. And I kind of want to check and see if the access code I want to be able to move this in easier. Well, it's time for me to go, actually. But I want to be able to move this in easier, so I think I should make it backwards compatible with the room access codes as they are presently. And I think I'm gonna have to think on this a little bit. But we should be able. Okay, here's my to-do. To-dos. Create access code in place of room access code. Update, add all existing access codes from rooms. Let's see. What else do we need to do here? And we're going to have to update the logic. On the access codes. For update authorization logic for room access code use. I think that's what I got to do. You know, I actually didn't want that mucking up my screen. There we go. Now it'll keep it. Okay. I think that's what I need to do. I think that's my plan of action. And I guess I could potentially keep it in a similar way. I don't know. Because technically, it'll know what information do we store in the current access codes. Let me go back. Actually, I think I got to grab the other database because I don't think there's the dev database. I don't think it has enough information in it. Well, let's check and see. Select star from now. Describe room. So these are kind of, I think these are kind of overloaded. I'm not sure. Strict means something. Open means something. But I think this information, data access code. So this is kind of what we're replacing. Right now we have both authorization information and the room itself in the same table. And it is my belief to split that out. And we basically would revoke access codes. So a room would not, by its nature, be strict or open, but it would be, there can be access codes which grant that people can, specific people can log in based on their email address, or anybody with the access code can get access to the resources, or anybody can get access to the resources that has the access code, but they must be logged in. So we could have different levels of access like that. So I guess that's what this is, require auth. But I don't understand why there's these three things. There's open, require auth, and strict. And by the look of them, it seems that they would be incompatible. So could it be open and require auth and be strict? Because that seems that would not make sense. But all this stuff, that makes sense. And then these two, I think these make sense, but these four things, they move out to the access code table, and then by virtue of, if the access code is restricted to a particular email address, then that access code only works for that person. And when we look at the list of codes for this room, that's the other thing we need to be able to do, is we need to be able to look at a room and determine its access. So I'm going to put that in my list of to-dos. Endpoint to query all access codes for a room. And we should have the ability to expire and unexpire an access code. So maybe I issue an access code to Joe, and it's set to expire in 15 days. And then I see that in my list. Here are expired codes for this resource, this room. And then, yeah, so I think the next session that I do, I don't know if I'll be able to do this tonight, because this would actually be really cool to continue to work on. It took me a while to find my groove with this, but now I think I really get it. But the last couple of hours have just kind of been, and well, most of today really, I was just kind of poking around a little bit, kind of thinking a little bit. We didn't really have a clear picture in my head. And then over the last couple of hours, coming up to this point here, yeah, I know what I need to do. This makes sense. Okay. Let me check what we got here. Well, it's my time to go. So for those of you that tuned in, thanks for tuning in. For those of you that didn't tune in, what can I say? You can't hear me anyway. But as always, if you like what you like, you get more of what you like. So go ahead and give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you didn't like it, because every thumb helps. And yeah, if you want to subscribe, hit the bell for personalized notifications, and I will catch you later. Like I said, I think the next one's going to be better. Well, at least in terms of I've got a more clear picture now. So we'll see. I might try to sneak it in tonight. I might do that tonight instead of doing the blog stuff, because now that I've got the clear picture on this, I'm ready to move on it. And the blog stuff, because it's front end that I have to do now, I'm not as clear on it. So anyway, adios. Yeah, of course. Of course. Why would we expect the hotkeys to work?